Welcome to your new home in McAllen, Texas.
This place used to be totally different. We took 29 motel rooms that were dated. Remember, these were built in the 50s, and we turned them around. We gutted these down to the studs. We replaced the electrical. We replaced the plumbing. We even added gas lines. And now we have a beautiful 29-unit multifamily asset. So bear with me, there's a lot that we're packaging into this one offer for the resident. In this motel to apartment conversion, we have sewer, water, trash, electric, internet, washer, dryer, dishwasher, microwave, oven, stove, all included for just one monthly fee.
Y no se preocupe, nosotros hablamos español. Go ahead and go to studiosonfourth.com, check out the floor plans that we have available, and submit your information. And just a friendly reminder, we have everything included: sewer, water, trash, electric, utilities, even fiber, high-speed internet. Submit your info, and we'll get back to you. Welcome home.
Everybody, thank you for joining the webinar today. I am Jacob Amezcua from Motel to Apartment Conversions. And Andrew's going to be running a little bit late today. He might not make it. He has another engagement that he could not get around. So let's jump in today to our topic. We're going to be going through 5 red flags of converting motels into apartments. And these are things that we have faced. These are things that other operators have faced in the space. And so first off, we wanted to talk about the room size. So for those of you who've been following us, you know that we take old hotels and motels and transform the rooms into apartment-style suites. And so you've seen our Studios on 4th apartments. That was the video that we played in the beginning. And we typically like to do L-shaped countertops. We'd like to make them look like as if they were a studio apartment. Now, what we're seeing is that our larger rooms, so that's 300 square feet and above, 400 square feet even, those rooms fill up very quick. We're 100% occupied with all of our 350 to 400 square rooms for McAllen. But the rooms that are smaller, the 195 to 200 square foot, 225 square foot rooms, those are much harder to keep occupied. And so the strategy with those is running them more as a short-term rental. But ideally, we go for long-term rentals for all of our apartments. And so when we're looking for a new asset, if you're a hotel owner or if you just know of any hotels that you think would be good for converting, we're looking for a minimum space of 300 square foot or more. They're just much easier to fill, and it's just a better asset for us. And when the room sizes are smaller, not only is it less desirable for tenants, it's also a challenge for renovations. How do you take something that's 200 square feet, 195 square feet, and make it so that it's a livable space where people can fit their storage in and where they can just live comfortably? What we've done is we've looked into, if you've heard of the company Ori Living, they have furniture that literally moves. You can press a button and there's a bed that ascends into the ceiling, or you press a button and a desk comes out. And so we've looked into these different space-saving technologies. It's not something that we've implemented yet, but technologies like that would definitely open up a lot more inventory for us. But for now, what we're looking at is over 300 square feet. We're finding that that's just more of a winning formula than anything smaller than that. Another thing that is tough in the hotel conversion space is finding the right location, because you want to find a place where both short-term and long-term is desirable. And so the ways that we can do that, we look at population density. So in the region has to be close to 100,000 people or more. If it's not, we look really strongly at growth potential. So for example, in McAllen, Texas, And in Brownsville, Texas, those are southern Texas regions that we have properties in. They're growing very quickly. So Brownsville itself, the city, doesn't have quite 100,000 people yet, but there's a huge LNG gas corporation that's building there. Also, SpaceX is building there. They launched their rocket from Brownsville. And so it's a strong growing industry. We look for population growth that's 1% or 2% over what the national average is. And we also just look for industry, whether industry is growing in that area or if it's stagnant. Location really is the most important part of our selection process. And so currently we're looking for properties in Dallas, in Houston, in Austin. We're looking for properties in Phoenix, in Tempe, in Mesa, in those growing areas. And now we're also expanding into Florida. We're looking at a potential partnership with an operator in Florida they're in Kissimmee, Florida, and they're in a perfect market. Kissimmee is wonderful because it has the attractions of Disney World, and also it has a lot of working class individuals, workforce, traveling nurses, and since midterm stays are our thing, it's just a great area. So anyway, location is definitely the thing that we look at most. We don't look at underpopulated areas or areas that aren't growing. Typically, those hotels go for a lot cheaper. But if you can't fill a hotel and it's not in a desirable area, it doesn't really matter how cheap you get it for, right? So the next one is regulatory and practical hurdles. So this is something that I think prevents most people from doing hotel conversions, to be honest, because you go into these projects and you have the mindset, if you haven't done this before, I'm just going to turn the hotel into an apartment. I'm going to make it look like an apartment. It's going to be easy. I'll rent it out. But there's so much more to that, especially in the regulatory environment. So Brownsville, for example, we made the mistake of putting apartments on our plans, on our MEP engineering plans. And that just threw up so many red flags with the city and zoning. They came back and said we have to put a halt on all of your renovation processes. If you are truly converting these into apartments, rezoned apartments, there's a ton more red tape that you have to go through. And so that's why we made the decision going forward that we are going to not require rezoning as a stipulation for the projects that we work on. We can have a commercial property and we can run it as a hybrid hotel, long-term hotel, extended stay, and long-term stay, and we don't have to rezone. We can keep it commercially zoned, and we don't mention or throw around the name apartments on our plans, and hopefully that's going to come with some better results. But municipalities and cities are just so difficult to work with, and so, like I said earlier, that's a lot of reason. That's a huge reason why people get halted in these hotel conversion processes. So you have to know the region. You have to understand what the city is going to require of you before you go into the hotel conversion process. You can't just jump into a deal and try to figure it out after. You have to understand what's going to happen during the project. Another issue that a lot of people run into, including ourselves, is hiring the wrong contractors. A contractor and a construction company can literally make or break a conversion project, and that's the same with any project, right? It's the same with residential if you're doing a fix and flip, but especially with the hotel conversion project, you have to get somebody that's experienced and has done adaptive reuse before. In the past, we have tried to retrofit contractors who do residential or they do small scale projects, and we bring them into these hotel conversion projects, and it's just an entirely different thing. The MEP and engineering plans have to be a certain way. There's sprinklers that you have to add. The internet infrastructure is different. There's just so many things that are just different about a fix and flip as opposed to converting an office building or a hotel into an apartment. And so to save yourself money and time and frustration and stress, get somebody who has done it before. We're now working with Waltz Construction. They have been wonderful so far. They do adaptive reuse. They have their own projects that they're working on. They do office space into assisted living, and they're working on our motel to apartment conversion projects now. And so can't stress enough that it costs you more than it saves you to hire the contractor. It's not worth it to try to save some money and jerry rig it and hire somebody that's going to be cheaper. Get somebody, you pay for you get the quality that you pay for. So find the right contractor, and you could save yourself months and of heartache, and it's going to end up costing more if you hire the wrong one. So have to vet them. And then for these conversions, the age of the property does make a difference. We have a property that was it was created in the 50s, and it was an entire, we had to do a full gut on it, down to the studs, replace the plumbing, replace the electric, add new gas lines. It was an entire, I mean, we did an entire reno. It was from the studs and on, it was a complete reno project. So if you're up for that, then that's fine. You can get an older property. To make it less hard on yourself, or if you're not getting the purchase price that you need to do a full reno and demo, you're going to want to get a newer property. So 80s is good, 90s and above is better. It's going to be the less, 90s above is really going to be what is easiest for a conversion project. You usually don't have to deal with asbestos at all. The electrical, the plumbing is not in terrible shape, and so you can salvage what's there, or maybe you don't even have to change it, you could just improve it. And so the age of the property, if you are looking at these rental projects, is very important. So we did hey Brandon, how you doing? So we did have a question from Brandon. What is your reno turnaround time? And that depends a lot on, first off, the city. So if the city jumps in, it's like a wild card. It could get stretched out so long. The reno itself is not that long. From start to finish, our 29-unit apartment conversion was 6 months, the actual reno time. But we had to go through the process of rezoning. So we had to rezone it. We had to go to the city meetings. We had to get all the permits that it was a whole process to rezone. And so that took us 6 to 8 months just to get through that. And I feel like that's pretty good. And then we also hired the wrong contractor for the first part of the job. And that contractor just, they were over budget. They took us down this terrible path of just frustration. So that was another 6 months. And so finally we got the right contractor. He finished it in another 3 to 4 months. And I wish it would have gone from him from the beginning. And so 29 units overall. It took six months of actual renovation, but it took another year of fussing with the wrong contractors and the city. And so ideally, these next projects that we have, we're looking, and we're going to do bigger projects from here on out. We're looking at an 8-month renovation process. That's kind of where we want to be. 8 months, and hopefully it doesn't stretch past 12 months. So 8 to 12 months is what our expectations are going forward for a hotel conversion project of around 100 rooms. That's what that would be for. Okay, so for the next thing, these are the steps that we take. First off, when we're vetting out a project, the room size is number one. If it's under 300 square feet, it's just not worth it. It really isn't. It's hard for us to fill those units. So 300 square feet and above, that's what we're looking for. The location, incredibly important. Anybody that's in real estate will tell you that. Location is the most important thing that you can find. So you have to do research on the growth. You have to do research on the industry. And it's not enough to just see what the current population is and move on. You have to see what companies are coming in. You have to see what the impact of new businesses that are coming, and we just had a new election. Trump is going to come into office now, and so is that going to impact where we buy properties? Yeah. Are we going to buy on the border anymore? I don't know. We have to see what happens. I could see it going both ways. I could see the quality of renters perhaps improving a little bit. I could see people coming into those regions now who are, not to get too political, but I think that having a stricter process for immigration is going to improve the way that we can fill these units with just qualified renters. We could do a credit check, background check, we can get proof of income. Whereas before, we have a lot of applications where we don't have a credit check or background check, and we just can't let them in. And so hopefully having some stricter border regulations will improve the qualified tenants that we get. But at the same time, it decreases the population in those areas, and we don't get labor that's maybe for affordable, and labor could potentially go up without having cheap labor all around. And so there's going to be pros and cons. And then in addition to location, I'm just going to add in costs of renovation now that the election happened. It's, who knows what's going to happen. Tariffs are going to be imposed, right, for more imports. And so construction is, maybe it'll go up. It's up in the air right now, but our projection is that our imports, our supplies and materials, we're anticipating that they're going to go up, especially for new construction, which is why we love the adaptive reuse space. And so there's a lot to digest now that the election is decided, and it's going to be a big impact in where we analyze location now. So we just have to keep up and keep studying the market trends and see how that pans out. But in addition to location, the regulations are important. If you're going to rezone, have to go in beforehand. You have to know beforehand that you're going to rezone, and you have to work with the city before you buy the property. You can't buy the property and then worry about it later. That's something that will save a lot of people a lot of time and money. Have to understand how the city works, what the municipalities require, and how you're going to run the property ultimately. You're going to do long-term leases. If you're going to run it as a hybrid like we do, very important to know. And then the structure and understanding how you're going to perform the construction crews that you bring on, they're so important. And again, it will save you more money to pay more for the right construction team. It's funny because we thought the opposite going into it, but you pay for the quality that you get. And if you're going to do adaptive reuse, if you're going to do construction, I would highly recommend not hiring out your own subcontractors and trying to piece it together and save a couple $100,000 because the time savings cost is just it could destroy a project. And so go with somebody who's done it before. We're using Waltz Construction, like I said. We have other referrals that we're able to share. And so if you are looking to get into the adaptive reuse space or hotel conversion space, just reach out and learn from us. We're happy to talk about that. So that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening in. Please reach out to us, info@motels2apartments.com, info@motels2apartments.com. My personal email is jacob@motels2apartments.com. If you're an investor who's looking for new projects to invest in, we have some opportunities coming up. If you're a current investor and you want to talk more about the current projects and how our projects are performing, we send out weekly emails. We send out monthly reports. But please reach out to me if you would like to talk more one-on-one about the projects. We're happy to go through that. If you're a hotel owner who has an old hotel or motel and you're thinking about selling it, reach out to us. And if you are an operator who's looking to get into hotel to apartment conversions, reach out. Happy to be a resource for you. So thank you guys for joining in today, and appreciate your time, and we look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Welcome to your new home in McAllen, Texas.
This place used to be totally different. We took 29 motel rooms that were dated. Remember, these were built in the 50s, and we turned them around. We gutted these down to the studs. We replaced the electrical. We replaced the plumbing. We even added gas lines. And now we have a beautiful 29-unit multifamily asset. So bear with me. There's a lot that we're packaging into this one offer for the resident. In this motel to apartment conversion, we have sewer, water, trash, electric, internet, washer, dryer, dishwasher, microwave, oven, stove, all included for just one monthly fee.
Y no se preocupe, nosotros hablamos español. Go ahead and go to studiosonfourth.com, check out the floor plans that we have available, and submit your information. And just a friendly reminder, we have everything included: sewer, water, trash, electric, utilities, even fiber, high-speed internet. Submit your info, and we'll get back to you. Welcome home.